Hi, this is Paycheck to Power, a show that we talk about how people turn 9 to 5 job into real power move. Today we have Fahad Naeem here, Country Director of Randstad Malaysia, a Fortune 500 staffing company. Hi Fahad.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Let me start with a golden question. Are you a millionaire?
Oh, that's a tough one to start with. If you're asking me in the Malaysian ringgit, yeah, of course. For dollar, I need to check what's the Bitcoin price now. Yeah.
Well, perhaps let me rewind a little bit to another question. When did you had your first 100K in your bank account?
I can't exactly remember when was that, but that was quite some time ago. Many, many years ago.
Many, many years. You look pretty young to me. How did you make your first 100?
100% it was a sales deal. So I used to work for this one tech recruitment company, which is basically supporting US market. So I closed a couple of large deals in a month. So I saw a big paycheck. Yeah.
I can hear the ching sound here.
Yes.
What was your first job?
I actually I studied technology. I was a software engineer. So my first job was sort of a tech assignment, doing some very old hardcore programming in .NET, C#, VB.NET, which is obsolete now, so nobody use it.
VB.NET.
VB.NET, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a very technical job to me.
It is
Nothing
technical.
close to sales.
Yeah. Yes. So I started off my career as a tech guy.
At this point of time, I don't see any linkage in between. How did you get into like pure IT programmer into a pure sales job?
It just naturally happened, and in your early 20s, when you are in your first job, you're really not sure what you're good at, and you start getting feedback from people. I used to have people telling me, "You talk a lot. You should rather not do these back-end jobs, doing coding, sitting behind the computer." So my colleagues used to go complain to boss that I'm not letting them work.
Talking too
I
much.
was just talking.
Just chatting around.
I was just chatting. Then a few times, my boss pulled me for meetings with their client. So they were like, "Why don't you just do requirement gathering?" So I was the one collecting details from client and then passing on to developers. I'm like, I should be doing something else. So I realized tech was not my thing. I'm still quite passionate about technology, but I'm on the other side, right? Do sales, talk to people, do client solutions, and so on.
Okay, that's actually a very big courage to move into something that you're proficient at and into a new role, a sales role, which you have completely, well, character in you, but completely without experience.
Yep.
When you first started in the sales job, recruitment, right? First job as a recruitment consultant?
That's right.
Recruitment consultant.
That's right.
Have you ever imagined that who you will become today?
To be honest, yes, I always wanted to be successful in what I do. I didn't think of that I'm going to climb a corporate ladder that quickly. But again, when opportunities come and you are the right person at the right time, it just naturally happens. So a lot of things you plan, but it just doesn't work out the way how you plan. But then you have to follow the circumstances, and then this is where you end up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that right to say that in the very early in your career that you already set a goal for yourself, foresee yourself 10 or 15 years later, who you're going to become, and you work towards that?
Yeah, I think I used to think differently. Any place that I've associated myself with, my goal was I want to be the important guy. When I say important guy, is I want to be involved in decision making. I want to be a part of contributing something bigger than what my colleagues were doing. That mindset naturally drives you to be sitting with the big boys in the company who makes decisions, who call the shot. That's how I ended up, unintentionally, without trying too hard, solving slightly bigger problem than my capacity at that moment. So that's how you organically climb up ladder. Yeah.
So be comfortable sitting in a big room and you'll be a big boy one day.
Yes, that's right. Yes. I still don't call myself a big boy, but yeah, if that's what you mean, yes. Yeah.
Fahad, where are you originally from?
I'm from Pakistan.
Okay.
Born and raised in Pakistan, but I left Pakistan in very early age. So
I looked through your career before Malaysia. At what point you were in the States?
yes, that's
The
right.
States and then Malaysia. What makes you move from your country to another to build your career?
It's a curiosity for sure. There are a lot of large brands. We don't have that in Pakistan, and many of these fortune companies you always hear about, and if you ever have a desire to work for them, organically people think a lot for Middle East. They want to go move to Dubai, but I wanted to go try in another, maybe a different market, very different market. So there was a curiosity. How is it like to be working with large companies in another country? So the plan was like, at some point I'm going to go out, look for a job. And I was lucky enough that I secured it much, much earlier than I thought. Yeah.
But is it more challenging to build a career in another country?
The initial phase is very challenging because you come from a different market. You probably do not understand how the local market functions, dealing with people, learning about managing people who probably do not have similar education background, similar upbringing. There are so many differences, right? But again, if you're a fast learner, you're adaptable and you are not too rigid in your thought process, you adapt well and then you pick things up quickly.
When you first started in a foreign country, I mean, I could imagine at that point of time you were new to the place, new to the land, new to everything here. To start adapting, to start knowing the culture, people, building something here, if you were to advise someone that in the same position of yours back then, what would you advise the first thing they would do?
Advice I would do is the difficult process usually in a new country when you're learning about people, business, it's about unlearning what you already know so that you can see different side of things, different perspective. If you can crack the code how to deal with people, all the other things become a lot easier. Yeah, so it's about make a conscious effort to make sure that you learn how people think, how people function.
Okay. It's like having an on-off switch in your mind. Turn it off, turn it on in a new country, new view.
That's right.
Going with an open mind.
End of the day, it's all about people, right? So if you can make some efforts to make sure that you familiarize yourself to understand how local market work, local people think, that's how you make some progress.
What is something that you are not very good at the early of your career, but you are pretty good at now?
Honestly, the processes, the structure, admin work in any job, I'm really terrible at it. But then with the time, as you get yourself engaged in more different variety of projects, it becomes a need. So it was a very hard learning for me. But as you grow in any organizations and you're taking up leadership position, there are always going to be metrics and KPIs and all that. If you don't have a structured, process-driven approach, you are going to struggle. So that was a very, very hard learning for me. And it took me a little bit of time to kind of really master it.
But that's something quite, I would say, new or uncommon to heard of. I often heard in the market that people had to be good in communication to move up the corporate ladder. But for your case, it was the admin piece, right? How would you share that, admin is important in moving up the corporate ladder?
It is important because in order for you to visualize something in the future, you need to have a very structured goals and planning, short-term goals and long-term goals. And how you're tracking those different milestones, you can't just be processing all in your head. And you need to take your team and your people on board with the journey you're taking. So not everybody will be smart enough to understand how are you keeping a track of all these progress. So you need to have very structured approach so that you can sit down with your team, with the people you work with and say, hey, we got to do this by 3 months, 6 months, 4 months, and then you can sit down by end of the year, evaluate and see how much progress you have made, whether you managed to hit the goals or you were far behind, and what worked, what didn't work.
So a good strategy is only as good as if you could articulate it.
It is. I think communication is the key to success in any leadership role. You could be the smartest guy in the room, but if you don't know exactly how to explain your ideas, you're worth nothing. So I would suggest anyone and everyone, you could be thinking that you know all the solutions, but you need to really learn how to project those solutions out there. Put yourself out there and make sure that you have the right language, right platform to express yourself, and then get that brain out there. Let other people see your expertise.
Well, you have been through a lot of experience in your career journey, Fahad. What is something that you wish you would have known earlier?
I wish that I knew much earlier that don't be overly obsessed with getting the right outcome. If you do too much of calculation that this thing should work or 100% should be giving me the results, as a human, you're always a bit reluctant to start something, overly obsessed about the outcomes. But if I wish I knew that no one knows what the right answer is, you execute, you start, you make some progress, you change your direction sometime to achieve certain outcomes. It may not be exactly how you expected, but you make a lot of progress by initiating something or starting something. So to answer your question, I think let's just not get overly obsessed with the outcome. Start the process, make some progress.
Yeah. And I think it's very important to enjoy the journey to reach the outcome, is it?
That's right. Yes, of course, yes.
That's one line you love to say, the pursuit of happiness.
Pursuit of happiness.
The pursuit of happiness.
Exactly. Pursuit of happiness is never the end goal, right? You never reach to the happiness It's all about pursuing it. The pleasure of happiness is in pursuing. So it's the same thing in corporate life. It's the same thing any passion you pursue. That is all about pursuing. The fun is all about in the journey.
To share an advice, that what do you think is an attribute in building a strong and a sustainable career?
I think sustainable is quite a question now with all this AI thing are happening. I think it's going to challenge all sort of jobs in the market. So sustainable is still, it's kind of a very risky statement if I say. But I think everyone should go identify the niche, focus on it, become a subject matter expert in one field. Don't be a master of everything. Don't go try to learn everything.
Yes.
That you can't. You can never become a true expert in multiple things. So spend a lot of time focusing on one niche and make sure that you know about that niche more than anybody else. That is the most sustainable way to build your career.
Do not be a jack of all trades, but master in one.
That was the statement I was looking for, but thank you.
Yes, I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
That's why we talk about specialism today.
It is, yes.
Your advice to the people that is looking to climb the corporate ladder, what will be the challenge and pressure they will be expecting in a senior position?
Senior position, there's one skill is not negotiable, or one capability is not negotiable, is your ability to take pressure. So there's a lot of uncertainty. There's going to be a lot of up and downs and challenges. You need to stay calm. You need to make sure that you are in control because you are the captain of the ship. If you start shaking, when the pressure comes, circumstances change, there are up and downs, everybody will panic. So the first number one thing would be making sure you learn how to handle pressure and stay calm in difficult situations.
Okay, then is that what separates a manager or maybe a senior person between a director? The ability to take pressure?
It is. I think the pressure is one thing, but the top leadership, it's really about long-term goal, vision, how far they can see, having a longer view on things that makes a huge difference. That is the biggest differentiator with middle management or people who are at the manager level to manage or sustain something, to be the top leadership, which is all about seeing a long-term picture of things. Something that not everybody can visualize it. And it's sometimes the ideas are so wild that people like, how is it even possible? It doesn't sound real. So if that's the statement, that's the feedback you get, you're probably looking at something people can't look at. Yeah.
I know you have said, Fahad, you have always put yourself in situations to make decisions, important meetings, but the journey to become a director, how did you prepare yourself to be there? Like, was there a sign? Was there an opportunity? If there were, how do you even see that opportunity?
So that's a very big misconception where people, they get really obsessed with the job titles that I want to become. Manager, director, MD of organization and so on. Especially a lot of young people who are very title driven. And it's all about, I want to get more money, I want to get more recognition. But I think if you do a bit of a reverse engineering, if you really want to climb corporate ladder, how I see it, the bigger the problem you solve for the organization, the higher the chance you have to take up leadership position. So your capacity to think bigger than what you do within your job scope is what would be the biggest differentiator with someone who is obsessed with title and someone who really deserves the title. So what I mean is, I would suggest anyone, if you really want to get success in corporate, think what is the problem that your manager is trying to solve. How can you contribute? What is your director or top leadership? What are the core problems they are facing in the business? Revenue, or is it about sales, client, process improvement, hiring, retention, whatever it could be. If you can start thinking for their problem, you don't have to try too hard to get promotions. You don't have to try too hard to become directors. You will be picked for the job with you didn't even expect for.
I think this is a quality that a lot of people don't have, or perhaps don't put themselves into. When you see fire, naturally you run away from the fire, but you gotta be the firefighter. When there's fire, save it, and that's where people see the quality in you.
That's right. It's all about really making a difference. Organizations love people who complain less, become a part of solution providing rather than becoming a part of the problem. A lot of young people, they panic very quickly when companies going through up and downs, but that's where the opportunities lie. So if you can really become a part of the solution providing team, you have a long way to go.
Okay. As a recruitment director, you have seen so many people, you built so many teams. What separates a good recruiter and an average one?
If you are familiar, you are familiar with the recruitment market. We have conveniently used the word consultant. The difference between a good recruiter and a good consultant is the biggest, I would say, differentiator. Someone who managed the process, and the other one is a solution provider, a true consultant. A recruiter, most of the time, is very transactional. I get the requirements, I get a request from a company that they're looking for someone very specific. You go make some efforts and find someone and do matchmaking. But we commonly use the word consultant. Consultant is really true subject matter expert. They know the industry well. They don't just find candidates, they do counseling. They have enough knowledge of market that they can sit with a senior candidate and tell them how their future looks like in this industry. Same thing, once they speak to clients, it's not just about finding the right talent, it's about educating them what market is like, what type of candidate will fit best to the project they are trying to hire for. And there are always the loopholes in job descriptions, in requirements, when the clients are requesting for those specific talent. A true consultant, true expert is going to give them a lot of feedback to make sure that there's a better alignment, a better retention plan, and the right talents coming on board through the recruiter.
It's quality over quantity.
Indeed.
Quality over
That's
quantity.
right.
If I was thinking a way to describe this situation for people that is not familiar with recruitment, perhaps it's like a machine gun and a sniper, right? Someone that have a machine gun, you can just shoot 100 bullets, probably one hit. Or you could be a sniper, you know the situation, you know the geographic, you know the skill, and just one bullet in, headshot.
Yes, it is. It is. But again, some industries require volume. There's a huge blue collar market in most of the countries where you need to be a machine gun. Company wants to hire a lot of drivers. All you got to do, find a bunch of drivers who are readily available, and they hire them. But when it comes to white collar professional job, that's where you need to be a sniper and a true consultant.
Correct. Like what you say, you have to understand your client, understand the situation, and tailor whatever solution that best fit for them.
That's right. Yeah.
You have interviewed so many people in the market. What are the key questions that you ask to assess someone that is ambitious, ethical, at the same time coachable?
Adaptability to learning and change of environment is, you look at what they've done in the past. If there's a fresh graduate, I would ask them questions about what projects they have done in their university assignment. Who did they partner with? Were they already obsessed with getting it right, or was it all about, I was excited, I want to do the project? What challenges they face in dealing with the stakeholders who are a part of those assignments? People coming with experience, it's a lot about how they've dealt with the situation in the past. Were they, when you ask a straightforward question, how was your experience working with these last two companies? And based on the responses and answers, you can gauge whether someone who's going to be just complaining about how bad the bosses were, how difficult the project was, or they just get excited talking about, I was there, we did this together, there were challenges, but we came out of it. The way how they describe the situation and the problem, that's where you really make the assessment.
The articulation of their thought process when they're describing their journey and experience tells you what character they are.
That's right.
If there's a fresh grad to come to you, or someone that worked 1 to 2 years in the recruitment market, the question is, what is the full capacity of this job? Where are they going to be in the future? What is your take on that?
Well, I think a lot of people don't even know that recruitment companies make billions in revenue. There's been on and off. Many recruitment companies have qualified in Fortune 500. People think it's just a recruitment agency job and it's, how far somebody can go. There are many people I know make more than $500,000 in their annual income just by being a recruiter. I'm sure you know many of them too, right? So it's a very rich industry and a very few jobs that can give an access to you to all C-level without trying too hard and ask them for a coffee catch-up to solve their executive talent strategy problems. So that is not that easy to have an access to in most of the sales positions because you're always selling something. Here is all about providing solutions, and talent is the number one problems that most of the companies face. So to answer your question, there are people earning $500,000, even some of them
even more than that. I heard of
even
some
more than
people
that,
more
yeah,
than
even
that,
millions, in millions as well, which is, you could say, someone with very minimum experience, and if they're really good what they do, they could be earning a executive CEO salary while just sitting at one desk without taking care of people, making large placement, and taking back home a very, very healthy check.
Yes. This job is a job that's full of opportunity and financially.
It is.
Yes,
It is.
yes. As a leader, what tells you early that someone will make it or not?
So it depends on what job are we talking about. A job that has a huge potential to climb up corporate ladder, and there's different level they can climb up. If it's not just a back-end admin support job, their ability to think of problem solving is number one, and then communication. So with AI, jobs are becoming a lot easier. You know, knowledge is no longer the unique set of things that you can bring on the table because everyone has the knowledge. Knowledge is very accessible. It's all about communication, dealing with people becomes the number one differentiator.
Agree. If there is a 25 years old that come to you today and say, Fahad, I want to be a director, I want to be like you. What is the first thing you ask them to do tomorrow morning?
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things they gotta do, but first thing tomorrow morning.
Wow. I think director titles are very subjective to industry, and I would just say that find a niche industry and analyze that how many people are doing this job. If there are very few people doing it, there is an opportunity. But also make an assessment, how many jobs out there, how the market is evolving, is this job is going to even exist in a couple of years' time. The niche the job is, higher the chance that more companies are struggling to find that niche talent, and that's where they're willing to spend more money and they're happy to give you higher titles too.
The opportunities is at the problem that you're solving.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
The less people in the market can solve the problem, the higher the chance you have to be employed, to be getting higher titles and more money too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.